Hello there, this is Jacob, and I'm coming to you from a Washington wonderland. Ain't no place I'd rather be than right here, getting rained on and hanging out with you. So I hope you're having a good day, buckle up, and we are gonna get on with the show. This is a Suzuki 640 out of a tigershark Monte Carlo. Generally, the price of these things I would expect anywhere from $100 to $500. If you find one of these for $100 that is in good shape, it's cheaper than doing like a milled head and a carb mod on your Kawasaki 650. Or 62 horsepower is what the internet says for this. I believe I maybe have seen 70 for the twin carb model. And what we have to decide is, what is the purpose of this here engine? What ski do we put it in? This is a few of our skis that are in the cupboard area, but the thing I was thinking about was this here 650 SX. We got a nice 650 Superjet here. Kawasaki 750 SX. Obviously this X2. Also we got this guy. It's not touching that. 550 SX. This here 650 SX. It has an unimpressive stock setup on it. Stock engine out of this thing. I did test fit the 640 into one of these 650s with the fire extinguisher cut out, and that was in the C-Rat 2 up against the fuel tank. It was a very hard fit without the stator cover on it. Probably with that engine in here, it's gonna mean taking a little bit of heat and bending the fuel tank in, making some room. So honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking, maybe it wouldn't be as good putting the 640 in this thing. And I do have plans to paint this thing and clean it up and make it cool. This engine, if you look right here, this says 633. That's the actual size of this engine. The 640 is like 639, I think. This here 640 actually has more cc's. This is a 639. The Kawasaki 650 is 633. It's not like I'm putting a smaller engine in one of these if I put the 640 in. It's actually, I think, a hair bigger, but it does make more power than these Kawasaki's. So here's another interesting thing I got laying around. We got a nice 650 Superjet here, and there's no motor in it. It's been sitting about 100 years, it looks like, at this point. You know, I could put it in here. Honestly, I don't really want to waste a Superjet with anything less than amazing. So you guys can tell me what you think I should do with this if you want. I got motors laying around. What do you want to see in this Superjet? Do you want to see the 640? You can tell me. Do you want to see anything else? Okay, you can tell me what you think, but cheerio. We're gonna move on to the next one. The next contestant right here is Kawasaki 750 SX. Now, I was originally thinking just put that stock 650 Kawasaki in here and sell this thing for like $1,000 or something like that. Might do that because if I'm gonna do an insane engine swap on one of these, it's not gonna be for a while, and I'm sure I'll get another one eventually. But you guys can tell me, what do you want to see with this? Do you want, I could put that tigershark into this guy. Just let me know what you think about that real quick. All right, are you jotting it, typing it down there? Okay, Vin, what do you say? Joel, what do you say, Joel? Anybody? Does even Mick O'Toole care? This is an option. I could do it. Doesn't seem like, I just don't predict that there's going to be a lot of interest in that ski. We got these two, which drifted into the yard. Obviously this X2. The smallest engine I've ever ran in this ski was 800cc. Do you really want to see a 640 in one of these? I mean, it's probably a bit better than a stock, but I don't know. You guys can talk to me about your interest levels. We need a garage. Does anybody with a garage company want to sponsor us? Honestly, that would just be the greatest. Also, we got this guy. Obviously, we'd love to see some kind of crazy thing in here. I don't know. Probably not worth it. It's already got a 650 in it instead of a 500. Yeah, come on. We'll leave them in the dust. No. It's not touching that. Definitely not touching that ski. A shelter from the rain. These 550s are about the only thing that I've ever seen anybody put the 640s in. You know, that's not a Tiger Shark or an aluminum jet boat. I've seen them heavily used in these, and for good reason. They do seem to fit up real nice. And I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So with this red pipe, you have to have this engine mounted extremely far forward. Far enough forward that I've got this little 2-gallon tank in here for mock-up. And with a little 2-gallon tank, it would fit. So right here, this is going to be your stock tank. It does not fit with the engine slid as far forward as it needs to go with the red pipe. So with one of these 550s, I would be interested to see the handling characteristics with the engine this far forward. This is going to be probably a 20-pound heavier engine than stock. And I know back in the day you got your Jeff Jacobs era 550 racers. They were all putting lead weights under their fuel tanks, trying to get a little more weight in there and a weight a little bit more on the nose of the ski. I would think that that would make a pretty decent improvement. So with the small tank in here and the setup that we have like this with the engine far forward, it gives us a lot of room. And I can just bolt the stock E-box onto the firewall here, which is rather large. It's a large E-box, and if I don't have to cut it up, it's really nice for me. And so I can do it like that, and then tons of room for the batteries. With a single carburetor, you got 100 feet of room to work on it. And this comes with a Mikuni carburetor on it, which is really what you want, is a Mikuni 44mm carburetor on one of these, on an engine about this size. They tune really easy, and they just work quite well. So and with minimal fabrication, you can use this in a lot of stand-up applications. I have had one of these Tiger Shark engines in it before, another 640 from years ago. I've also ran a 701 Yamaha in here, and so we do have videos of that stuff somewhere. I don't think any of them really turned out that great, because it was always kind of a backseat project. But anyway, a little more info on how this fits in here. Look at my light. My light will be your light, and you will be able to see what I'm talking about. So I have the bed plate turned around backwards, because that kind of situates the motor farther forward, if you can do that. These engines sit, so they would need a 3/8 of an inch shim on the bed plate to rise the drive coupler up to be at the same height as the drive shaft. That amount of gap between the couplers, that's just something I would need to make to extend the drive shaft to where the engine is. Yeah, I got gobs of room back there, and that is really helpful. I'll show you how big the E-box is. And then with that pipe, it is The pipe exit is really close to the same size of the water box inlet, so that really makes it easy. Really, the size of this engine is very close to a 550. The bore spacing is actually the same as a 550. So with the pipe turned around like that, I obviously have some work to do in this area. I've got to weld that hole shut on the pipe and clear out an area so I can get a bolt on that corner of the head. Just light modifications, not too bad if you got a welder. So that's my plan with that. This is it. It's a behemoth. So I've made custom e-boxes. I've fit Tiger Shark electronics in 550 e-boxes with a spacer. It's a bit of work. It's nice if you can just use the stock one and set it in and forget about it. So that's what I'm planning to do with this. It'll keep it a lot easier for me, and that should make it so you'll see more videos of me riding this thing and less videos of me working on this thing. If anybody's interested, like, and really wants to see it in this, I mean, you got to tell me. If you want to see a Tiger Shark 640 and a 650 SX, I need you guys to tell me. If you care enough, I'll put it in here. But if there's not much response at all, I probably will not. I won't do it in this. I'm going to engine swap this thing either way, and I believe I have a nicer motor for this thing that will be cool and it won't be difficult. I've got another big bore 650 motor that I have not run yet. It's not huge. It's only about 700 cc. If I can get these types of builds done quicker, it makes it so that you're gonna have a more likelihood of seeing like cooler, insane builds that you probably care about a lot more, like the 1500 swap in the stand-up, you know, triple swaps, things like that I'm sure you care about much more. This is a lot more regular guy, more attainable type stuff, which is cool because, I mean, it's more relatable to probably most people watching. Josh was wanting me to get a thumbnail shot of holding this engine above my head in front of some skis. I really don't want to go get it and do it. Josh, just Photoshop an engine in my hands. Okay, here's the engine. It's in my hands. That's my top pick. That's what I want to do. The engine, I've been tinkering with it, setting it in here because it is dry under here and it is here without an engine in it. And so maybe if I had an empty hole to play around with one of those others, I guess some of those other skis are empty, but they're not in the dry place for me to mess around with it. So at this point, this is my preferred ski to do this to. So I would really like to know what you guys think, and if this is what you would want to see with this 550 SX, or if you have any other ideas for the 550s. Just keep in mind, if you guys are going to be like, just put a Kawasaki 750 in it, 701 in it. I mean, we have had a 701 in this. As for Kawasaki big twins, we've got the Ripper that has an 820 Kawasaki. Jason's got his 550 that's got a Kawasaki 750. So we kind of got you covered in that department. Eventually, you know, it would be cool to do a triple swap on one of these 550s, but we need to be wise with our time and really strategize to get that going. And so it is not the priority right now, and it appears to be for good reason, because there are a vocal minority on the internet that would really love to see that, but really the mainstream of the internet probably doesn't care as much. But to all you hardcore guys, yeah, I know that would be really rad, and I do want to do that at some point. But make sure you do check out vintagejetski.com. They got all sorts of awesome trick parts for these old 550s. If you're into the Jeff Jacobs era racing stuff, you know, old replicas, that type of thing, definitely check them out. They have parts that, like, they would have wished they had back in the day. Just really neat stuff for restoring these things. And you can use our promo code to get an additional percentage off. So anyway, with that being said, I hope you're having a good day, and I hope you like what we got going right here. And that's it. That's it.